Our 13th award is the Nathan S. Bienstock Scholarship. The winner is Audrey Gray from Columbia, who's making a mid-career transition to long-form journalism on global climate change. Her winning essay, she wrote about women working in South Africa with recycling human waste. Presenting is Richard Liebner, who endowed this award.
It's always a great thrill to come to this event and remember people who I go back with a lot of years. You have to say Walter Cronkite, you have to say Lou Kaiser, you have to say Roy Rowan, you have to say John Corporon. It's mine and Carol's pleasure to see people continue in journalism, and it's a great honor to give this award to Audrey, a working mother who continues to educate, change, and grow in different directions. It's a fascinating story.
There's a phrase they use in Senegal that I like a lot for speed bump. It's called dodan, which translates sort of to donkey's back. You can see it, right? So I'm in this village just a month ago on my winter break, and it's about a 6-hour drive from Dakar. And I get there, and there are all these dodans that the women have built in their doorways. And I had done about 6 months of research. I felt like I had, some knowledge, but I was like, are there rodents here that I didn't, understand? It's like a 2-foot barrier in front of their doors. I'm like, what's going on? And it took days and time. And finally, I get the story on it. Senegal used to have a rainy season that lasted about 4 months in so many parts of the world right now. The rainy season has changed dramatically in the last 2 to 3 years. Now it's about 2 months, and the rains don't do a normal, gentle soaking that gets right into your crops in the farmland anymore. Instead, they get these pounding overnight storms that hit, and the flash floods tear through the village, and the women had built the dodan, this freshly poured cement when I got there, to protect their homes from the flash floods, just wiping out the furniture that they have. I spent a week there, and there were a bunch of other things they taught me. They said the land is dead. They're pretty clear about that. And we talked about temperature, about heat, about water. Water's the big deal. Water's always the game changer, right? You can hang on, you can adapt all kinds of ways, but if you've got 4 wells and 2 of them, the water starts tasting funny, you gotta be worried, because when the wells go, you have to move. These women do not want to move. They know what happens in this world when you migrate these days. They know, we know too. It's brutal. They're trying really hard to stay. And right at the end of my week with them, they wanted to pray for me when I was leaving. And, no one prays for reporters in America. That does not happen. Also, I'm like a squirrely, pagan New York writer. I was a little uncomfortable. They come out, and I realized this is not my show. If the women of Kirbakar want to pray for me, I need to stand there and take it. So I did. I just put my head down, and I just wanted to tell you what they prayed. So they prayed for my safety, that I would get back here and write the story. And they prayed that the story would make something happen. My own opinion, you may agree or not, is that the stories about climate change have been pretty awful. They are constipated with numbers that none of us quite understand. 400 million, parts per million what? 1.5 what? 4? And they're anemic with these projections of something by 2040, by 2100. Your eyes glaze over, right? So my reporting professors are here, Tammy Levy and Elena Cabral from Columbia. There is no way, and thank God that Columbia J School is still pass-fail. I'm so grateful. But there's no way that they would have passed a story that I turned in like the climate stories we see. They taught me that you get your body there, you observe, and you write something that makes people feel a way, right? That's what we're going for. Our climate stories are not doing that right now. My hope, my intention is to use the years left that I have to work to write stories that make you feel something, that write stories. I'm not going to say that, like, answer a prayer, but I would like to say that answer the intention of this woman for whom the stakes could not be higher. It's high in the global south. That's where the stakes are now. That's why the story is a here and now story, which Tammy would always say to me, what's the here and now angle? Where are the stakes the highest? So that is my intention. I can't do this alone. I really need your help. We need to figure this out together. It's a pretty big story. I think, as we know, like humanity and possible extinction, big story, bigger than the Cold War even. So let's do it together. And thank you for the support. I appreciate it.